Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss. And which X-Men universe is the MCU using in the Marvels, Deadpool 3, and Secret Wars? Like, what's going on right now? We got Beast, played by Kelsey Grammer in the post-credit scene of the Marvels, making him the third known member of the X-Men from that Fox Marvel era crossing over into the MCU, after Patrick Stewart, Charles Xavier in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and Hugh Jackman confirmed to return as Wolverine in Deadpool 3. But while the actors are being pulled from that live-action film continuity, the look of these X-Men are definitely more vibrant and more animated than we've seen them before. So are these the same Wolverine, Professor X, and Beast? Probably not, right? But then what version are they? I recently asked Kamala Khan herself, Iman Vellani, what she thinks about this, and I did a deep dive into everything Kevin Feige has hinted about his plan for the mutants, even signs that he gave with past franchise decisions to try to figure out which X-Men universe this actually is. I'll spoil the answer for you right now. It's gonna be both the best X-Men universe that we can imagine and a universe doomed to die. Okay, if we assume that the universe of the Marvel's post-credit scene with Binary and Hank McCoy is the same X-Men universe that Hugh Jackman Wolverine is coming from in Deadpool 3, which I understand is a big assumption, but let's just assume that the post-credit scene of one movie is kind of setting up the events of the next movie coming out. I think there are 4 possibilities of what universe we could be seeing here. 1, the restored X-Men OG universe. This would include the universe of the first 3 X-Men films from the aughts, plus 2014's Days of Future Past, as that movie ended by restoring that original timeline back to the original lineup, including Patrick Stewart, Charles Xavier, James Marsden, Cyclops, Halle Berry, Storm, and Kelsey Grammer, Beast. Second option, the X-Men 97 universe. Since the 90s Fox X-Men animated series is being brought back to Disney Plus as X-Men 97, picking up right where that series left off, this universe could be a live-action adaptation of the continuity of that series, which would really elevate the importance of that upcoming animated title. Third option, the X-Men First Class universe. Because the X-Men movies made by Fox did split into 2 different timelines of characters. So this third option would be the alter timeline following the events of First Class, and then Days of Future Past, X-Men Apocalypse, and Dark Phoenix, which would include James McAvoy, Charles Xavier, Michael Fassbender, Magneto, Ty Sheridan, Cyclops, even Evan Peters, Quicksilver. Now I gotta say, despite Evan Peters showing up in WandaVision, I doubt that the MCU is using that universe, mostly because Nicholas Hoult was just cast as Lex Luthor in Superman Legacy, and he plays Beast, Hank McCoy, in this continuity. Which leaves us our 4th option of what universe it is, a new X-Men universe, which would be just a new universe that combines elements of all of the above. So let's look at the evidence. So far, Marvel has only brought back film actors who played these characters in the original film continuity. So Patrick Stewart, Hugh Jackman, and Kelsey Grammer, which is really weird for Kelsey Grammer because Grammer wasn't really synonymous with X-Men the way that Halle Berry or James Marsden were. Grammer was really just in the lesser beloved 3rd film, Brett Ratner's X-Men The Last Stand, and then he made a quick cameo at the very end of Days of Future Past. Kelsey Grammer is also known around Hollywood as, not exactly a kind of guy who will spend 8 hours a day on set wearing the mocap suit that Mark Ruffalo and Josh Brolin and Tatiana Maslany were down to wear. So the fact that they went to this effort to bring back Kelsey Grammer shows us that this studio is, for now, committed to a specific pool of talent that includes Patrick Stewart, Hugh Jackman, James Marsden, Halle Berry, Anna Paquin, Famke Janssen, Ian McKellen, and Rebecca Romijn, maybe also Shawn Ashmore and Elliot Page. And this would make sense because that 2000 X-Men film was how Kevin Feige got his start as an associate producer, reporting to Lauren Schuler Donner, and a self-made comic book guru who snuck Hugh Jackman into his office to read comic books after director Bryan Singer banned them from the set. The Marvel's post-credit scene samples 2 different X-Men scores from Days of Future Past and from X2, X-Men United, and in Multiverse of Madness, Charles Xavier quotes his line from Days of Future Past, "Just because someone falls and loses their way doesn't mean they're lost forever," suggesting a connection to that continuity, at least in the way that all Peter Parker variants instinctively knew the words "with great power comes great responsibility." And for what it's worth, when I asked Iman Vellani about this, she agreed, admitting that she hasn't been looped in on the studio's mutant plans. What X-Men universe do you think they are in here? Like, what universe does this take place in?
The first 3 films, I guess.
Yeah?
Right? Like, Kelsey Grammer, that only makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they did have, is it 838? They did have, old Charles Xavier in that one, but he didn't have his, yellow wheelchair in the films.
Right.
So, it could be a different universe, but also, maybe he just got the wheelchair later. I don't know.
Yeah.
Any X-Men universe is fine. That's not true. I was going to say any X-Men universe is fine with me, but I still refuse to watch Dark Phoenix.
Kelsey Grammer as the Beast is just such a specific pull. Like, they could have pulled
I know.
Patrick Stewart back or Marsden back in, but they're like, no. We want you to think about Days
And
of
they
Future
were
Past.
flexing on us
Yeah.
with that CG. I was very impressed when I saw the little teeth.
Which it feels like they use some of the technology that they use on Ruffalo for Hulk, but they did it
Yeah.
specifically to get a comic accurate Beast, Just out of curiosity, Beast mentioned Charles Xavier. Who do you think would be Charles in this reality? Would be Stewart or McAvoy? Stewart seems to make more sense.
I think Stewart makes sense.
Yeah.
Given Beast's age and he's already in beastie mode,
Yeah.
I think Stewart. So hopefully Ian McKellen's somewhere in there too.
Right?
And then Halle Berry pops up. I think it'd be a jump scare if we get Anna Paquin too, but we'll see.
Jump scare. And don't blame Iman for not watching Dark Phoenix. I know none of you did either, but Feige also might be a bit limited by other things when it comes to declaring his MCU X-Men universe as the same exact universe as those films. In my deep dive investigation on this mystery, I broke down how legal contracts with legacy producers might force Marvel to credit and pay people like Bryan Singer for any title that's too connected to that film continuity, which might even include anything with X-Men specifically in the title, which is why an argument could also be made for this live action continuity being connected to something that predated Bryan Singer, the X-Men 97 universe. Because yes, we've all seen how Beast was redesigned with an appearance closer to that of the animated series. A smaller head, his underbite fangs, he wears no shirt, only blue pants with a yellow trim. Meanwhile, Wolverine in Deadpool 3 will be wearing a classic blue and yellow suit, which was very, very important to all the people involved. Charles in Multiverse of Madness dressed as he did in the 90s animated series, green jacket, blue striped tie, and he floated in the classic yellow hover chair. And while we were talking about music, the music the MCU has twice used to announce mutants, Charles in Multiverse of Madness and Kamala Khan in Ms. Marvel, was Ron Wasserman's theme from the 90s animated series. My favorite gifts I've ever gotten are the things I use all the time. A water bottle I like, or a comfy hoodie I can wear when it's cold out. If you're looking for the perfect use it everyday gift for somebody in your life, give them Ridge. Ridge knows there are things you gotta carry with you all the time, every day, and so those things gotta be comfortable to have in your pocket and fit your vibe. That's why Ridge is rolling out new Hyperline wallets and key cases, plus a whole line of ceramic powder wallets in soothing pastels. Ridge's Hyperlime line is perfect when you want your gear to have that high visibility, easy to find vibe you might need if you're camping. The ceramic powder line is designed to be fashionable and functional, with color options that look as good with your outfit as they do in your pocket. Every Ridge wallet holds up to 12 cards plus cash while remaining as slim as possible, and are designed with RFID blocking materials that protect you from digital pickpockets. The Ridge key case holds up to 6 keys with no jingling, and you can get 30% off your order when buying the Ridge wallet and key case together. Ridge's products have a 99-day risk-free trial and are backed by a lifetime warranty, which is probably why Ridge has over 3 million customers and more than 80,000 5-star reviews. Shop the holiday sale by going to ridge.com/newrockstars and get up to 30% through December 20th. If you use my link, you can enter your email/SMS for a free chance to win a Ridge bundle worth $4,000. No purchase necessary. When Ash Crossan asked Kevin Feige about his mutant plans on the red carpet for the Marvels, he diverted to X-Men 97.
But I know how much you love the freaking X-Men. Is there anything you can say about how delicate that is to you and kind of what the plan is? When are we going to hear something?
I don't know if it's delicate. It's super exciting, but the X-Men are as solid and rich and great a concept and characters as exist. The return of the animated series next year, which we're very excited about.
Yes.
And I saw some new final episodes today, which really bring you back to that core of who the X-Men are and that soap opera that those characters represent. And then in live action, people will see, perhaps soon.
Did you see it? He shifted. He said, and then in live action. And he kind of sensed in that a distinction in his mind between animation and maybe what he might consider to be the real thing. Not that I agree with that way of looking at it, but that might just be his way of explaining it to anybody watching. Feige clearly values the themes of what the 90s X-Men animated series represented, but not necessarily the exact logical continuity. And the fact that Kevin Feige has used film actors to voice the characters in What If tells us that for him, the voices and the appearances of the actors is a pretty important part of what he considers to be canonicity. And he's not wrong. General movie audiences who go watch these things are always going to first associate who is playing and voicing these characters more than like a random Easter egg someone mentioned in a scene that 10% of us caught. I think we also have to look at Kevin Feige calling his live action MCU 616. That is very telling because it shows us that he considers his films and shows to be an adaptation of the 616 universe from the comics, which is a different medium in his eyes. He is pulling from those comics the most cinematic elements and making a live action version of them. I don't know if he considers the comics to be as equally weight-bearing as the films. This is to contrast the way Lucasfilm approaches all of their media. Every episode of Bad Batch is as canon-bearing as a live action Star Wars film or as a printed comic. At least it's the case since Disney bought Lucasfilm, and it's been kind of a frustrating thing for a lot of comics writers. Over at Marvel, Kevin Feige doesn't want this. He doesn't want to have to be beholden to continuity's other storyteller set. He wants more control. And we see this when we watch a movie, we think he's gonna adapt a comic word for word, but he ends up using it as just kind of like an inspiration to build his own version of reality. That's what we saw with the Illuminati in Multiverse of Madness. It seemed like the Illuminati, but it ended up doing its own thing, which is why I think we are really looking at a fourth option of what X-Men universe we're looking at, a new X-Men universe, in which Marvel Studios is gonna pull elements from all past X-Men continuities. The beloved cast members from the original films, the vibrant costumes and the soap opera vibes from the animated series, and yes, Iman, maybe even the way Dark Phoenix began to move away from the X-Men moniker toward mutants. And they're gonna build an entirely new X-Men reality out of that the studio can control fully. But I don't think that's what X-Men are always going to be in the MCU. This plan, at least in the multiverse saga, starting with Deadpool 3, is just a temporary task force. So we're looking at the difference between two different things, an X-Men task force and a mutant academy or a mutant community. By casting all these past era X-Men, this is not a universe that Marvel is building for the distant future. Patrick Stewart is 83, Hugh Jackman is 55, Kelsey Grammer is 68. This is a temporary transition universe that's being built for one event, Avengers Secret Wars. This is a short-term task force headed for a one-time epic reunion, and it's gonna be awesome, but it's not gonna last. This isn't gonna be the mutant community that we hang out with for 10 years after that. Director Sean Levy has said that Deadpool 3 will not retcon Wolverine's death in Logan, and I think that the only way that they can do that without confusing everyone is by constructing a new, separate universe filled with X-Men, played by most of the same actors we know these characters to be, but wearing the colors that Kevin Feige always felt the X-Men deserved to have. It's kind of like the X-Men Dream Universe. It's gonna have all the 2000s era excesses and ego, Wolverine's brutality, but also mixed with like Storm's theatrical bellowing monologues. It's gonna be the kind of universe that we both love, but we're also gonna be okay to see like Deadpool take a wrecking ball to it, even down to fighting Wolverine on the ruins of a 20th Century Fox logo, because this temporary transition X-Men universe must end. These legacy stars do not want to populate a new fertile community of mutants to play out all that soap opera drama that Kevin Feige identified, but we need that. We need the slow burning interpersonal conflicts, the rivalries, the romances, the mysteries, the friendships, the comings of age. We need a mutant academy. And for that, you need a new Logan, you need a new Charles, you need a new Hank McCoy, and you need to say goodbye to any universe where those characters exist as other actors. But you also need the best goodbye possible. That's what Secret Wars is. So whatever this new universe is that's being built in the Marvels and Deadpool 3, I think it's gonna end up being dissolved by an incursion, by Deadpool, maybe Burt, maybe merged into Battle World, and then those characters will go home, just as Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield did. The door will be closed, and the multiverse saga will come to an end, and then Feige will build a new mutant saga around the younger mutants like Kamala Khan. So in total, we will have the Infinity Saga, we're in the multiverse saga, and we'll get the mutant saga. Now, in 2024, New Rockstars is actually gonna embark on a weekly breakdown series of all X-Men movies. So please subscribe to this channel, subscribe to all 3 channels in our network, follow me on all socials at EA Voss. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.